Hello, we're just gonna take a little time for intro right now. While I get some stuff typed up here quick. We're on a new setup, so I'm gonna try this out. Okay, 10 o'clock. We're gonna start getting warmed up here. Should look something like that. There we go. Okay, so hello and welcome to Bug Free Productions. We have streams Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. They are at 6 p.m. And 10 a.m. for art streams on Saturday. Reason art on Saturday is just a second. Reason we're doing 10 a.m. on Saturday as an art YouTube is because we're just kind of taking a break from programming, because either both Tuesday and Thursday, or minimum of just Tuesday, is going to be programming, plus I do programming on other projects during the week. So this gives me a nice little time to do some art as well as go over how art fits into game design and how to design art for your game. Um, one of the videos that you can check out is in my art playlist where I covered how to, like, some basics and thinking about how to decide on your resolutions for your different artworks, whether they be in your game or for print or something else, like using for AR, how you kind of need something a little certain resolutions for that as well, or just make sure they're a certain size. Thursday, this coming Thursday, I have to check, but I believe we still have our Blender stream coming up. So if you're interested in learning Blender, we'll just be making some objects and some scenery type things. Nothing too complicated, and a nice kind of introduction to it. So if you're interested in anything like that, I definitely recommend coming into that, because this will be a very introductory level here for this coming Thursday. This coming Tuesday, we continue a shorter, more beginner-friendly playlist for Unity instruction. So for game developers that want to do some programming and get their hands kind of into Unity, we do some simple code. We do some really basic buttons. There's only one pattern in it. It's just kind of because you can't get around making that in order to keep it in the scene as a scene manager and stuff like that. So pretty simple for that one. You'll notice my cursor control is pretty awful if you've seen the other videos, but that's because I switched over to my laptop, so we have a bit more power than my very old tower partner there. He's just a little old. Actually end of service sometime this or next year, so he's gonna get retired pretty soon. With that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and could turn down or off the music. How high is that running? It's not even yellowing, so I'm assuming that it's fine. Anyway, with that, I'll minimize this. I think with this screen setup, it'll be a little bit easier to deal with the on-screen recording. So you'll actually be able to see the screen with the file path, or not the file paths, but windows and stuff on the next Unity video. The reason I didn't do it before was I had more monitors of different size, and the setup was easier just to use different panels than to use one screen capture and flip between things. That might still be the case, just because there's so many different applications I have to have open for that one. But for this one, it's pretty easy to just leave the one screen recorded, because I'm not leaving the screen. What was the... Is this... Oh, there it is. Okay, so I can do that. Okay. So we're just gonna warm up with a little bit of thumbnailing. And we'll do brush. Yeah, I gotta hook up that keyboard. Right now it's like on top of the desk, so I have to reach up for my keyboard, which isn't ideal, but... What is... Yeah. That's right. Okay. Oh, that eye is way too big. Oh well. Just put the ear out here then. Close it off a different way. Ouch, little coffee today. Sweet water. So we're just gonna do some sketches. I like to just draw a bunch of faces to warm up. The reason I'm actually warming up today is I think I might do some, we'll be doing a lot of thumbnailing and I don't want to get a sore arm. Because I don't draw for 2 hours at a time too often. Which I could probably just, or I could change the opacity. And what's my brush kind? Where's my... Where would that be? That's better. How did I change my brush though? What kind of brush I'm using? Instagram. Wasn't that in? There it is. Okay, there we go. That one we got kind of a watercolor. Acrylics. I don't want acrylics. I want inks. Because I love ink brushes. Low absorb ink. Analog ink nib. I think analog ink nib looks pretty good. Oh, dynamic rough ink. I think this is my favorite in this one for right now. Go up one. Whoa. Dynamic rough. That doesn't look all that tapered at the end, does it? What's ink nib look like? Nope. I'm gonna go dynamic rough. One. Oh, that changed the opacity back, and that's got the taper. That's what I wanted. There we go. Let's go back to layers. Let's just go ahead and just go delete that one. Oh, I forgot that controller. That's not connected. Okay. Pixel. We don't need to name a layer or anything right now. We're just warming up anyway. Okay. Let's turn our opacity back down a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. So then Then when we do our circles, yeah, that's nicer. There we go. Yes. Sometimes settings makes all the difference. It would also help a lot if I actually zoomed in to something that wasn't terribly... There we go. I can even see it now. And this circle actually needs to be a circle. Notice I'm having trouble with circles today. Let's be a woman. We come around and we go in here. Or at least a very defined individual. With a very sharp chin. Then we have... Should do it like that, maybe? And maybe bring down a little bit of hair. Something like that. Just really cute curls. Hear the engine taking off. Wow, that graphics card is angry. Might have to do lower res drawings. It's going down now though. Yeah, seems fine. Anyway. Just gonna keep going. Whoops. We just pull it back up, maybe. Oh. It's not high enough opacity for one stroke, and a stroke doesn't register until you take it off. I see. Okay. Anyway, so then we can bring this back down. A little bit of remembering how the program works, a little bit of warming up, getting used to how this thing works. Meaning my arm. Something like that. Alright, and then we got just a little bit, keep going. There we go, just keep shading it in. Oh. And we kind of gotta do that because we're essentially can't go over our line because we're low opacity. It's not just filling in, it's creating something else. So we just keep going and then we brush in. Probably readjust so I can reach the screen a little bit better. And we end up with a nice smiley face. There we go. Something like that. And then keep moving on. And we could fill this out, but I think what I'm gonna do is just move on to the next part. That's enough of a warm-up for today. So I would start by listing, what was it? Oh. So normally I would start by opening my UI and checking out how that goes, but it was pretty simple. And we were more setting up functionality when I was doing that UI, so I'm just going to look at this and start some thumbnails of what I would want it to look like, because right now it doesn't have to be in any format yet. You can always change what the things connect to. So we'll just continue with this, and something like that. Start with a thumbnail. This is just supposed to be a really basic thing, so even I treat it just like a wireframe. I'm like, what do I want here? I probably want something like the game scene right here, game scene name. If it has a scene, which actually isn't all that great either. Maybe we'll walk that back. Maybe we'll put our opacity up so we can do a harder stroke. So maybe we want our back button here. Wow, that's a rough inker. Huh. Good for thumbnailing though, then I don't have to worry about getting like crispy clean lines. That was kinda... ooh. Okay. So this would be like the back button. I shouldn't use an X. I should use a back arrow probably. So that's the back button. And then per player, so we'd probably want something, so say we're doing 4 players local, right? Need to keep in mind, okay, this pen ain't working for me anymore. It's gotta be something else. That's not really, I maybe just want like a really clean, actually. Let's try Comics Pen. It's not exactly what I want either. I want to just throw down a hard line. Yikes. Maybe this will be better. Analog ink. We'll try that for a bit. Alright. So we got 4 players, right? So we need a place for everybody to set up their character. So one way would be to split up the screen into 4, right? Okay, that's probably the easiest. The one I was thinking of was that you have all the racers settable over here. So we kind of just cut the screen in half. And then we just have the total number of racers, because this is a PC game, so we're going to have a PC screen to work with. And I think you could probably get like 8, maybe? 8 total slots up there. Which means we just have to have 8 different prefabs minimum. No, we need 9 minimum. Because, we need 9 prefabs minimum, because every slot needs to be filled plus. Which means you either end up with a default extra one or something, but that everyone and anyone can have use of. But you definitely need about 9 individual prefabs would be nice to aim for, unless you're just allowing anyone to select any color, which is fine. It's just not doesn't add to a colorful palette that's really enforced with design. It ends up being not always very nice looking. Or it turns out to be very hard to tell which ones are which players. Because you want to be able to tell who's in first at all times, and who's ahead of you, that sort of thing. So, shouldn't be doing that. So 9's a good number to aim for, which isn't too hard. We're just going to change some skins anyway. But this is kind of the idea I thought would be cool. So this would be like our wireframe. And now let's probably scroll out. So I'd probably punch out. Now let's maybe do not an illustration, but a drawing of that. So let's go ahead and get layers and get a new layer. I'd probably go turn off that layer just so I don't look at it. So we want 9 prefabs, right? We have 8 slots. Let's keep that in mind. And we have... Was there anything else? Nope. We just want a back ability, right? So let's... Actually, let's do more thumbnails, just with the better definition of what we want now. And these wouldn't necessarily even be thumbnails. I'd turn in like as concepts, because that's just not what I do. I usually do prelim sketches. We definitely want this button in the corner. Okay. I won't have a bunch of thumbnails, but I'll thumbnail until I see one that's actually worth the sketching. Or even not even sketching, just having a better thumbnail. I don't really tend to... A lot of people will have like, okay, say if this is a comic panel, they'll have like heads here, bodies here. What would it be? Shoulder in, back, out, up. Then like sword maybe. Wasn't really enough room for that, but you get the idea. They'll have like a good amount sketched out, and I'll just my level of thumbnailing when I start is usually there's a character here, there's a line of action right here, there's like, you know, the sword that's going to be moving. And then if there's anything happening here, I'll mark where that's going to happen. I won't actually sketch any of it. And over here is like a caster or something. That'd be my thumbnail. It wouldn't even be comprehensible to somebody not me, but I'm just looking for something that I don't hate, so that I can see if I like it when I go into a deeper sketch. So I don't have to be real interested in this thumbnail. That's not what it's for. It's to help me find things that I might like. So here we go. So the UI, first idea was here, and then we could have some stuff here, maybe some instructions, and then here we have the selections that we can do for them. So each player can do their selections. And yeah, it's not to scale. I'd just make notes that there's 8 of these slices. So maybe I'd throw in an 8. And that's all I really need. I don't really need a whole lot at this point. Yeah, the 9 prefabs more being something that I'd include in like a design document or an ideas document, something that I run to programmers. Wouldn't necessarily keep that in here represented in any way, but just there for my reference and there for their reference. What we actually use is this 8, which is good. So I just thought of another one that would be kind of a cool idea. So if we had this, and then right here we had like instruction, and then stage select. So say you're in free race, right? Everyone's gonna race on one track for like a time. Well then, maybe doing something like this, where we go over here and we have a track view that people can select with, so that we're not going to a track selection screen. In a fighter that works really well. It just, in a racer, I know like it attracts a certain type of people that want to get into the race faster. Some fighters are like that too, where it's really fast-paced fighters, so you just want to get back into the fighting part of the game right away. I know. Da 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 da. Fighters Z. What is it? Yeah, Fighters. Really good Dragon Ball fighting game, but and there's so many characters on the fighting screen that it would literally be impossible to try and allow for stage selection at that point. So I get why they didn't, but it being so fast and so fun is kind of pulls you in, and you can't wait to get to the next one. So you kind of wish it would just that you could do it all at once, and you wouldn't have to go through the different steps. But as a design part, it also isn't. It doesn't look very feasible to do that with that kind of game either, because like I said, they have like 20 plus fighters on the roster. And even from start, I think you get like 15 or 18. I'm not good with numbers, but I think they give you a pretty healthy amount to look at the beginning and choose from and build with. So I don't think that having, and then so that you can see your team comp up above on the screen during character selection, because you're actually building a team. So if you had team building plus character selection plus map, I think it might have gotten a little beaten up for the user to try and tell what was going on. So very good design, not just in keeping with the way fighters usually work, but there wasn't going to be room for that anyway. And then kind of like okay, so we'll come back to this one. I'm just gonna do a quick thing. Like in Soul Calibur, their idea was like, we got our fighters here, then you each select one, right? And they have these really nice people which I can't draw that small. But that's like the start of my underdrawing. So you see, they'd have those people right here, so you'd see your character, it would give you feedback on that, yeah, it's selected, because your coin's here, and your character's over here. So that means you must have selected the character, right? Cool. So it's really good for feedback. The thing that wasn't so nice is, and this is Soul Calibur 2 I'm talking about, is that then you have a screen. If I remember right, it's a screen. And this is just a carousel. So that's just a two-way carousel in the middle for stage selection. I think, I can't remember. Maybe I'll have to look, maybe I'll have to see if I can emulate it and get a look at it, but it's, maybe they rendered the thing back here, but I can't remember. Even so, having this in front of this stage is kinda, I would have preferred something more like, ooh, I know it's probably was processing limited, but carousel right here. Scene out here, right? So, put a lollipop tree up. Then character here. So you saw your characters in the fighting arena as you were toggling through. So this would probably be like a well, this could have been a backdrop of like a photo or some crap, right? For example, the treasure pit as an arena. Treasure pit as an arena could have been here and just had a regular crunchy JPEG back here to denote it, and it would have, I don't know if it would cost more space or not, but it wouldn't have to be a full real-time render with the engine. Yeah, that's another thing to keep in mind is if you're going to use in-engine processing or if you're going to use sprites for your UI. Most of mine's probably going to be pretty sprite-based with the exception of the one render modules I made. So they're gonna, yeah. I just thought that was really cool when my buddy Nick did one for our Battletops game. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. I think I kind of want to do that. I was just kind of trying with a new pattern on that. But yeah, carousels I really like, or arrow buttons that change the thing and make it act like a carousel. That's pretty nice. So we've drawn a couple things and talked about a couple UI things. I think for this racer, this looks kind of good to me. And let's do one more thing, because we want to do an extra test. So what would that look like then, right? It'd be, so let's draw some more thumbnails. We have a pretty good understanding of what we can and can't do at this point, meaning what we need from the thumbnail or the layout of the UI. So we'll do some square boxes again. Okay. So then what? We still have our back button in the corner, right? Let's just think through how that would behave and if it's viable, right? So what do I want to do with this, right? I want probably gonna be want that center line, right? Now let's say if we add more races to the or more tracks to the race, right? So when we go into our Grand Prix mode, we still have our normal boxes where the characters select, and this would be 8 long. Not gonna do all 8. Because that's something that'll, at this scale, it's just hard to draw them all, and we're not really taking time to render everything right now. We're looking at getting our broad brush strokes, and what do I want to do with that? It's probably going to be something with, so to add a bunch in here would work as well, right? Well, behavior-wise, is it? Because if I want the racer to be able to adjust how many they have, 5 to whatever, well, that's a problem, isn't it? Because now we have a set amount of boxes in here that we can't change. Okay. Then that doesn't really help us. Because we need something a little more adaptive. While the number of racers will always stay the same, the number of, the number of those stages will not. So how would we do that dynamically, huh? That becomes a design problem. So how do we design our UI for that? If you think of a slot machine has like coin, tree, square on each one, right? So if we have that, on each one, right? And what do we get? So we could do it like that. Problem is now scrolling. And do we want them to scroll? So this is becoming a page where it's just scrolling around. You can see where this becomes an actual design problem if we want to make this expandable or not. Instead of just selecting a set of 5 tracks, how do we set it so that they can queue their own tracks for one pre? It's a little more difficult. Not necessarily on the programming side, because once we know how it's supposed to behave, it's probably going to be pretty easy on programming side of things. I don't see anything where I'd have to learn something really difficult. But we could use a bigger eraser for this. But getting that core idea is going to be a little harder. So, because we also don't want this to be defined either, because we keep redefining this. It won't always be 3. Sometimes it'll be 3. Sometimes it'll be 5. We don't want to stretch into the other characters' things. So how do we fix that? Well, there could be a scroll thing where it spawns several objects in a little box. So we could have a scrollable field. Then we'd have our racers. So that's kind of separate. So we have our scrollable field. We have our racers. This scrollable field contains objects spawned. So a dynamic list of 5 to whatever. And because it's in that box, all of this is stationary. All of this is basically a carousel. So that's all good. And it's just like a list of carousel objects. So that might be a good one. So this is where I'd probably start doing a refined sketch to test it. Not a refined sketch, just like an actual sketch that's not just a thumbnail. Whoops. Up, down, up. Okay. So maybe we'll just use this this layer as our test here then. We'll look at it and we'll go and we'll try and so out here's the back button. And for right now I'm just gonna sketch a line in the middle. But actually I don't think that's very good because we're gonna need an extra a bigger image than we do with the cars for the bigger image for the racers, bigger image for the stage than we do for the racers. So we need to keep that in mind. So this line probably shouldn't be dead center. Our distribution should probably be somewhere somewhere in the 3/4 view. That doesn't make sense because your racers are the bigger draw, right? Because people are going to be more concerned about their racers than their racing stage. That's just the way they are. So if half splits the importance. What would do for that, huh? Okay. 1 second. Why is that? Here we go. 1 second here. Okay, and we're back. So what do we want to do there? That's another thing that brings up, okay, it'd be really cool to do this all from the same screen. But is it maybe necessary to break it up into 2 scenes like a lot of things do? It might be. I was hoping to get it all in one scene so that we could just go from the one scene directly into a race. Because I'm not a fan of loading a bunch of scenes just to get settings. I think it's kind of a pain. But it might be better in terms of just trying to explain how they do things. Because they might not necessarily, like a user or gamer or player might not recognize that they need to set up all this stuff in one scene. So we might have to break it into scenes anyway. And if we're breaking it back, so now that we're trying to do it in a bigger way, right? So we even just attempted a more defined sketch, and we're like, nope, we gotta go back and get our thumbnails. Because there is no way that even just doing it in a sketch is gonna look very nice. Because we're just thinking about usability, and it's gonna be very hard for them to do usability type stuff. Which means we want to just make it more so how do we fill a 16 by 9 when we're just gonna have, like, we only had an idea to fill this much of the screen, right? We can stretch that out a little bit, fill it in with some graphics a little bit. So we could probably come in with here. Come in 3/4, or not 3/4, 2/3. From the right is 2/3. Then we'd have our back button here. So back would be, yeah, let's just do it there. And then erase button, or next button would be here. So we got a back button, we got a next button. Yeah. Back button, a next button. If we were doing network play, we'd probably lock the, well, even not doing network play, we might set a maximum. Nah, that would just be a network play, actually. But we don't have to keep that in mind in design part, or this part of the design, the user interface design. That would be a different kind of design. We have to worry about that. So we have these, and then we have all the erasers, right? Which then we can even do double. So we can either do double like that. And you'll notice I haven't done any aesthetic things, no ideas on characters or game art or anything else. We're just trying to fill out how what we're gonna make. And then let's do an instruction video in here maybe. Those are fun. Maybe just slightly zoomed out around one of these that's working, because around this whole screen is Inception, and that's not fun. But you could definitely do a zoomed in around one of those, where it goes through and does the arrow thingy. So that would probably be pretty good. Pretty good layout. We have 8, so we'd have 4 and 4, gives us height dimension wise more room. We could even probably push this back to 1/4 or something. We don't need to do that in the thumbnail, but we could do that once we start doing the sketch. Test out at 1/4. And this is a 4K image, but you could definitely do 1080. I might do 1080 on the next one, just because this seems to really make my graphics card a little warm. which is understandable, and this game isn't really going to be in 4K. I started with 4K because I thought I might do something else with it, but I don't think I will. It's just going to be interface sketches. So if we have that, even let's right here. Let's say we're going to do there's a quarter, right? Let's just test it right now in a thumbnail. Do that quick. We got it back. Next. And our little video. And then we have our I'm just going to draw some quick squares because I'm getting tired with thumbnailing. And it's almost, yeah, it's almost halfway through. And we should do some at least closer to concept sketches before closing stream. So that's what it would look like with that in there. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. Maybe like some decorative frame and stuff in there, do some other stuff. Leaves us pretty open to just do whatever we want in there and be pretty descriptive and intuitive without being too cramped. So race selection. We want a number of races, right? So what do we do with that? That's probably a list, right? Programming anyway. For us, what do we want it to do? Do we want an instruction or anything that we have on the screen? Maybe that would be a good thing to keep in common. Up, 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 up. Maybe we keep a lot of our UI. Instead of right to left, all of your commands are, whoops. All of your commands are left. And they go from top to down. So maybe we do our back button again here. Do another video here. Do another next button here. And maybe we do some, so our selection is a little bit different. What I'd like to do is, I'd like to probably, and this is a soft cut, this isn't necessarily a hard cut, where we're breaking up the UI, but I'd like to see the environment that I'm going to be racing in. So I want to see the track. And maybe, so like here's the track that I want to select. So we'll have selection, arrow. So maybe it's like a carousel that revolves, and when you actually click on this area, it adds it to the stack. And then we wouldn't even need to have them enter a number first either. It would just be click and it goes to stack, or what would actually be probably a queue, because you want you to select first race, second, third, so on. So click on here would probably be a really good one. And then we just show your queued here. And this would be like a scrollable, right? And then you could scroll through all your queued. And then maybe they have like an X or something in the corner to remove them. Something, you know? Something to remove them from queue. If I was feeling really ambitious, I'd have it so you can drag this carousel item into the queue, but I'm not, so I won't. Since I'll be programming this too, I don't want to make it too complicated. Also making a really complicated UI does make things worse sometimes. In this case, I'm sure it would make it really simple, but it wouldn't make it very, being that I don't know how click and drag would work in Unity, I don't want to push to figure that out immediately. Just for user interface, that the feature might not improve the game. It just might make it simpler. So actually, we might even want an add button down here. That's a cool thing to have. So if you have your add button right under the part of the carousel where it displays a mini picture of it, oh, actually, that's a good point too. Maybe this is the add button, because this is already displaying the environment, the track. Maybe a slideshow of the track, that would be kind of cool. Like a couple moving shots from a camera that's been recorded, that would be kind of cool. Give you a feel of what the track is gonna look like from racer point of view, rather than just the, you know, thumbnail. And then we don't need a thumbnail either, because we don't need a thumbnail here, because we have the expression up here. So that would be kind of cool, because then we just go left, right, and then if we see one we like in here, we hit add, and it adds it to our queue. And then queue goes all the way down. So we work in here to develop our racer setup as a user, as a player. We work in here to develop our user setup. And then once we're done, we go next. And then everything is right on the left for us to keep changing things. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. So we started with trying to combine them, and that didn't work. So we separated them back out. We have what I think is two pretty good ideas here. Whoops. Again, these are just thumbnails for mine. I don't have an idea. I don't even have any idea what the track is going to look like yet, right? I'm designing a user interface with no idea what kind of assets I'm going to be working with. So it's just kind of the thumbnail, the idea, the blueprint, doing some of that. So this is the kind of UI I'll move on with. These two. So it'll go select these guys, go to your other selection, select these guys. And then once that's all selected, we'll probably go to the scene, right? Or go to the race, first race. So what do we need in the first race? I'm actually going to label this one because I like it. I'll just title this one something stupid like usable thumbnails. Usable thumbnails. Usable thumbnails. And we'll go. I'll probably cut and paste or whatever onto here. But with that, let's make a new layer. Turn off the pixel layer. Go back up. Okay, so there's some of our UI done. That's 2 of our scenes thumbnail idea, right? If you're following along with the Racer tutorial, you'll notice that I did go through and make canvases, but that they're really bad looking and not really optimized. That was just because it's like, okay, I'm getting the basic wireframe, meaning not like we're doing here, like thumbnailing and checking, deciding what goes where. It was wireframing in the sense that I'm getting the scenes in order of where we're going and making sure that our transitions work, which is what I was doing there. Where here we're doing thumbnails to make the layout and design of the page more useful. So what do we want to do here? We want to do some things, right? Should probably thumbnail what I think would be the next most exciting, which is probably the user interface on the race itself. So there's a couple things, let's sort of thumbnail them. And then probably here to... So these aren't the most 16:9 rectangles I could make. I could make 16:9 rectangles and then scale them up. Oh well. That would be a designer thing. Designer not being a person in this case, it being program. That would be if I was an Affinity designer with the pathing and stuff, using vector shapes, that would be really easy. Being in here, I don't know how easy that would be. I'd have to figure it out right now, which we're working right now. So we better get product rather than learn it, for at least for me right now. So we got this. I want to do this right here, right? So there's a couple things. Sonic Riders had something like an air gauge up here. So that was like how much gas he had essentially. Build up gas by doing air tricks. Let's talk about our game concept mechanic wise. So I am probably gonna put shooting into it. Not sure how I want to do that yet, but whether it just auto targets the closest person and launches something, or if I have like a bomb it throws out there and does an explosion, stuns players. Not sure, but there will probably be some form of that, and it'll come off an energy gauge. So let's start with Sonic Riders. I think it was like something here. I might have this on the wrong side of the screen. And then in here was like the speed you were going. And then like here was the lap or something. Wasn't it? I don't remember too well. Maybe I'll look it up real quick on off screen. Yeah. What is the... Yep. Having OBS open and the other thing open at the same time is kind of weird. So Sonic Riders UI. Yep. All that placement's very wrong. So let's walk it all the way back. Theirs is Sonic hacking contest. Nice. Their UI is something like they have a map here. So a mini map there. They have the gauge here. What's that? Whoops. Okay, focus for a minute. I need the gauge. I need the image open. I need to switch tab. That's what I need. There we go. Okay. So you had the gauge, you had your speed. Come on. This computer's still new, so it kind of yells at me to do a bunch of crap. Meh. But it's got that, and then over here we have lap. Lap information. Then we got time. And we got the ring counter and level system up here. Okay, so what about are we gonna need? We'll probably need this much. And I like this part. I don't necessarily want to make a mini-map system. I don't necessarily want to make and add in a level system. So I want energy system, I want speed system, and I want laps and stuff. And in design of this, what do I want to do? Well, I probably just want to stick it towards the bottom of the screen. Because what I don't want to do, so in a player environment, it's a little bit different. If we have a player environment where this, and then player dude, what does he do? Well, he doesn't want to, nobody wants to look at the center of their screen as not the center of their screen. So this being the center of their screen, they don't want that. They want it to be dead center. So what do we want to do then? So then we can either quarter off and have our player dude in here so that he's in center screen. So as long as our camera's centered on Guy, we're fine. Problem is, can we fit that in a good way? So do we want our lap time? Probably. Would we? Is time that important to this game? Is keeping time important to this game? It's probably a better question. Are we in desperate need to know what our time is? Or are we just worried about what our ranking is? Like what place we're in on the lap? That might be more what we're worried about. Because I don't necessarily want the lap up here. Where is the rank on there? I might have to look that up, but I think it's somewhere weird. Whoops. Do they show it here at all? That was changed. It actually looks pretty cool. That's too much UI. 8-track. Okay. I can't find a decent picture of that, so right away, so we're just gonna move on. But last thing I want to do is have like your place here. That would suck. That wouldn't be any fun at all. So let's not do it there. So if we're thinking this way, I want the viewer to have more sight up here. Make sure they have sight up there, and down here is less important. Partly because that's just the way we kind of like to read things. It's either or not. It's not that it's the way we like to read things. It's the way that racing is. It's the way that cars feel to us. So we're used to looking down at our speedometer. If you think about a car, you have you have like your bottom piece here. Like everything out here is outside. That's out the windshield, okay? Try and illustrate that a little bit. But anyway, everything out there is outside, and then down here we have our speed gauges, right? Mileage, speed, gas. So we're used to that. Also, this creates the longest view distance. So if I'm seeing up over my character and I can see farther, that helps me time and turn in a race. That me not having this section, it's not going to instantly make it impossible, but it's not going to help at all. So we want to put as few stuff up there as possible, being that it's a racer. So what does that mean we want to do? Let's just walk back all those lines. So I don't want to do this and just have all my information here like we did in the UI. That's not great. We want to do, probably want to do something here in the middle. So like here's our player, right? And then don't want to do energy bar up here. I feel like I'll use the energy, so I want to keep an eye on how much I have. We're not going to do the run like in Sonic Riders. If you run out of energy, you have to run. We're not going to do that. But it is going to be used for specials and stuff. And then what can we do? Probably use some of that and just do the... That's a weird photo. Just do the thing. Do that. Or that might be better. Hold on. Let's walk that back again. So if we have, maybe do a double, okay. So, if that's our energy, right? And it wraps around our speed, cool. Less space, out of the way, good enough feedback, right? We can even move it in more if we want, if we need to, depending on how much space we need. Cool. Then I kind of want to do a lap. So, in Riders, there's like this thing that goes across the middle of the screen that tells you if somebody's coming up on you and what side they're on. I don't think I'm gonna do that. Might do an over-the-shoulder peek, but this was probably harder to do in older games, but I think a race and that's more sound design's job than graphical nowadays. Because we have better sound producing headphones. So we can put it on sound to take care of that. Okay. Let's go and do some... So then maybe I want something else here that's maybe more of like a hologramic display. And there we have like the lap. Oh no, that's not what I wanted actually. Maybe we match this, this part circle. And then we could have like lap complete, like how close to completing a lap are you? Then you can have how close are you to completing the race, like lap wise. And what's your time? We could do time there. Which that might be kind of cool. Or would it be cooler? Or would it be cooler to go rectangular with it and get more space back? We go hologram like player dude. Everything else is open above that. We got our bars, right? One bar that's like power, Then we got speed reading. Then maybe here we have 2 bars. There's a bar for the race total, which is your laps, so maybe that's laps. Bar total for race completion. No, race completion being the lap you're on. Percentage of the lap you've completed, other bar. Then your current lap time, or your current time, one or the other. Maybe both, depending on how much space we actually have, and how much text we need. Probably be pretty nice. So, yeah, that's pretty good. So we start with that kind of thumbnail. So everything else failed. Because I liked the idea of being rounder, doing some neon stuff, but I just don't think it works very well for UI. And we'll just not do that. That sounds like a good idea. Let's go check this. Yep. And it looks like we're still doing okay. So what would I do for next thing? Probably go color picking, maybe. Color palette be a good thing to start getting in right about now. And I talked about this in the other one, but I'm probably going to do something different with the robot game right now. That racing one. Because I just don't want to... I want to get my assets in that I'm going to use for the game I make out of the code. And then... so I'll still do... apply all the stuff to the bot, but there's also stuff that I just won't go over or show. That is for the other game, just some features that I want to add that I just don't want to deal with putting... People aren't going to want in the video. So, we're at 25%. We have these thumbnails. We have 2 of our UI. So what does that leave us with? Is there anything else that we need yet for that kind of UI? We have our start screen. This might be a bit more tonal of an idea than the other ones. What do we want our start screen to look like? I mean, we can always just... press start. It's an option. It's a bit lame, but it's an option. I actually don't like screens like this. Like I said, when I open up an application, I want to get right into the action. So when it opens up with a screen that says please press start, yes, it's an acknowledgement that you do want to open the application, but it's also an acknowledgement that you think I wouldn't open this application, that I would open this application without intending to use it, which I don't like. Kind of like games that autosave your losses. They're fun when it's part of the mechanics, but it's not fun when it's not recoverable. Like in like Pokemon games, I think it's like they used to be like 50% of your money or something, and it's like, okay, that's pretty cruel considering a lot of the games got rid of, like, if it didn't have some kind of pay move, like Payday or something, there was no way for you to make money back if you lost too often. So it was kind of kind of crap that way. They put plenty of winnables in the game, but it's still just like, if you lost, you're like, do I really want to keep going, you know? Or do I want to just turn off the Game Boy and reload from last save, since I didn't save before that one? And it's like, well, and in Coliseum it was even worse, I think. Um, not for not just the cash part you lost, but then if you went to fight them or whatever and you won, but you didn't uh, snag all the Pokemon from them or something, then it was like, okay, so now you have to. No, not only do you not have that, but you also can't go back and get it unless you reload because you didn't save. That's which sometimes in long stretches of like 5 fights was kind of brutal. Because then you'd have 5 fights you had to win, but also steal each one along the way, and then save at the end, and all do it without a save point. So it's like, well, that could have been better mechanic wise. Which they fixed in the XD Gale of Darkness, but because it had a save system so you could save whenever you wanted, so you could save right before a fight, give it a shot, and then if you failed, if you lost the fight, you could retry from there, and you wouldn't have to go all the way back. And on top of that, if you won and failed to catch it, you could just reload. So, save systems are important, very important to keep in mind when you're designing a game, because you don't want it to take away from how fun the other mechanics are. But that's still a design thing. That's still a design. Maybe not UI design, but it's a design feature. Something to think about when you're designing things if you're working in game depth. Or game design, I guess. So we press. We don't want press button. Press button is bad. What would we want? We'd probably want something like don't want back. What would we start with? I think start just starts with yeah, I would probably just start. Divide the screen somehow. Let's start with drawing some thumbnails out, because I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to think through this a little bit. Okay, so what do I want here? Probably some stuff here. No back, because there is no back. Probably something like title. Like, let's walk that back again. I want a line down the center just for my own compositional thoughts. Bike. Separating them on across the screen could be kind of cool, especially if we do a bicolor design where this side's one color and this side's the other. And then those would be like our two main UI colors. Um, yeah, that would be kind of cool. And then this would be a clickable button with like a video clip, I think. Two different kinds of video clip, um, distinct. One would be multiplayer and one would be online. Um, or maybe it would be cooler to have a video effect on hover of a race and two different racers, for one for each hover button. So then you would have like a biker race. So then we would maybe have like a symbol, so that like if we're not actively looking at that one, we're not. And that would have text and maybe an image. Or maybe we just want our text under here telling us online or whatever. But we probably want it up here. Because people aren't going to look down. People don't look up and don't look down. They just look straight forward. So the more you want somebody to read something, you have to put it closer to the center of the screen. Whoops. Brush. And actually, to that point, I kind of like the idea of kind of making this like a nested group and having like a title card that says online or local or whatever inside the same square that the image is concerned pertaining to be. Now, what would a local one be? I don't know. I know world globe works pretty good for this one, so I'd probably put like a globe in there. But for this one, so it's local, maybe we just put like a wheel in there. So it'd be like a picture of a steering wheel. Local, you're just grabbing the wheel and going. Network, you have to go around the world and find buddy to race against. So maybe something like that. If it's bike race, that doesn't work great, but anyway. And then we got hover video on button hover, and you click it and it goes to the next page, and then it would go to local. And what would local be? That would be racer select, right? So it goes from this bike race start, clicking a selection, going straight to the next selection screen where you start selecting racers and start selecting that. And then once you get done with that, you go down to the bottom, you click, and you head into the where you start stacking your stack and race queue. So that's what our design kind of looks like. So maybe we do pixel. Maybe we do another sheet of thumbnails. Just to verify that we did indeed make good choices. So from start we have bike race. No. And I kind of got to rest my arm a little bit. It's getting, it's not used to being up quite as high as when I'm digitally drawing, because I mostly learned to draw traditional with pencil. I say traditional loosely because it's, I use mechanical pencil for everything, one that just holds the lead still. Because I like to use it for shading as well. I use it for both the sketch and the shading. So if the point is always sharp, it doesn't give that nice scratchy shade. Actually makes it really hard to add shade or detail or anything to it because I don't have very good control over the over the stroke in general if I'm using a mechanical pencil. A self rotating point mechanical pencil, that is. Okay, so we have bike race, and then we have LOC for local, close enough. Steering wheel. Looks a bit like a peace sign. So this is on. Brown line. Just globe. Then from bike race, we'd head over to. Oh, and that would actually separate our thing pretty good. Then we'd head here. Then we go back. And then we'd have next. And then we'd have little video. We can fit one in there. Otherwise, we'll put instructions in there. Something. Oh, that's not. And actually, I'd probably make that like the checkered line. Like checker tape, so they know it's gonna be something. It'll be an image that pertains to next or a race. And then this will be the player setup. Then once they hit next, they'll go on to the next page, which was did I just forget which one it was? Probably. It's too small to fiddle around on the screen to find it. Okay. At any rate, I think I had like bop and then bop. that one, bop, and then bop. So there's the select button, and then here's like an arrow. This is queued. And then we need our back button if we need to go back to racer select. And our hash lines, just checkered lines, whatever. I can't draw checker pattern small. And maybe, I think it was like texture video here to keep in pattern with the other one. And then when we finally get here, then we start the race, and then we'll actually get our bars, right? Then we have lap. Then we have progress. Then we have place or time. And then here we have this bar. You know what, maybe we don't even do any display numbers. Maybe it's, well, maybe it's like bars and then numbers at the end. Yeah, I think that's the way it'll be. Because then we can have a speed, we can check how close it is to our max speed. Yeah, then we could check how close it is to our max speed if we have like a max speed on the speedometer. And that would be pretty cool. So it's like bar number, bar number, bar number, bar number, and either like a number or another bar down there. We can just have two numbers. We can have like his place and then his current lap time or total time or something like that there. Yeah, and that should be enough feedback for what we're gonna do. And then the rest can be on the like energy bars and the speed bars and other kinds of things. So that should all be good. Yeah, that should all be good. And then we have our racer. And our racer would be in view and we just keep him centered. Centered towards the bottom, and then this leaves you to view everything up here. Yeah. That should all look mostly good. Yeah, these are gonna have that sort of thing. Anyway. Oops. stuff like that. Anyway, so then, I think that's good enough. I got some thumbnails for what I'm gonna be doing and working on, so hopefully I can start rendering that next time, or maybe we'll do some wallpaper drawing, draw for some wallpapers, do some cool stuff with that. Probably draw at 1080 so my laptop's not quite so sad. I hope the video quality is a bit better, because it's yeah, just because I do. Character GTF8. So welcome to Bug Free Protection. Okay, I gotta reset some of my stuff up here because I don't have my documents all on this laptop. So, if you like streams like this and like seeing kind of this little process, even if I'm going kind of slow because I haven't done the design part in a bit, the game design part in a bit, go ahead and like and subscribe. Yeah. And what was the schedule's up there? So 6 p.m. on is programming on Tuesdays. 6 p.m. Thursday is variable, and we'll be trying to get that Blender video this week. So if you're interested in that in Blender, check that out at 6 p.m. live, or on the channel VODs. Then Saturday, art on YouTube. I don't have a topic yet, but we'll get there. And then if you have a CO comment or suggestion, leave it in the comments, and I'll see if I can either work it into a current project, or we'll do like a Thursday video at some point on it with some questions maybe. Alright. With that, thanks for coming, and have a bug-free day.